This year, Sweden and Austria celebrate 370 years of bilateral diplomatic relations, and we also have a very long history of close industrial collaboration. As a partner country, we're given the possibility to highlight Swedish companies and digital solutions. And according to the European Commission, Sweden is the most innovative country in Europe and one of the most digitalized countries in the world. So inviting Sweden makes a lot of sense. Over time, we look back at products invented in Sweden, such as the pacemaker, ultrasound, dynamite, Tetra Pak, zipper, the GPS, and the 3-point seatbelt, which is found in every single car in the world. More recently, Bluetooth was invented in Sweden. Well-known companies such as Spotify, Skype, Klarna, and the game developers behind Minecraft, Candy Crush, and Unravel are also from Sweden. Swedish startups are leading the way in the global development of digital healthcare, or health tech. We're providing access to different forms of healthcare through mobile, artificial and intelligence, and other technologies. Cybersecurity is another area where Swedish companies are leading the way. Last year, Austria and Sweden established a structured innovation collaboration between our countries' industries. Therefore, participating in the Software Days will be an important platform that fosters both deeper and closer innovation ties between our companies, as well as with participants from other countries. Starting in a few minutes, we will have a chance to listen to a number of keynote speeches and presentations by world-leading corporations such as Ericsson, Saab, Combitech, Atlas Copco and IKEA, as well as the government agency Vinnova. And many more Swedish companies have signed up for the business-to-business session and workshops. In addition, during the day, we will have a chance to see a number of short films highlighting world-leading Swedish innovations and products connected to the software industry. And I'm also very much looking forward to tomorrow's debate between the Austrian Minister for Digital and Economic Affairs, Dr. Margrethe Schrambrück, and the Swedish Minister for Digital Development, Mr. Anders Ygeman. The focus will be successes and challenges of digitalization in Austria and Sweden and the support of the private sector. So thank you all for listening, and I wish you a very exciting day. Thank you very much.
And here in Austria with the wish for us for an exciting day, and this is definitely what we are going to have. Thank you so much to Michaela Kumling-Granit. And well, with this, I say good morning all and a warm welcome to the community out there joining the 2021 B2B Software Days. This is day 2 of our journey through the future of digital business, and you are here with us, and this is so great. And you are not alone, because more than 2,000 fellow participants have registered in order to exchange and to shape the future of software business together. So many of you have already participated in the workshops yesterday and today, and maybe you have experienced this very exciting pitching battle today in the morning when 10 awesome teams presented their proposals and their visions to a professional jury of investors, and it was so impressive, wasn't it? So many items of our program today are dedicated to this special partnership with Sweden, and tomorrow we are going to bring together those 2 ministers that are responsible for the digitalization process in our countries, which is Margrethe Schrambrück for Austria and Anders Ygeman for Sweden. So, but the ambassador of Sweden has started our keynote session with her welcome message, and she already mentioned this very innovative power of enterprises, of Swedish enterprises, and well, let us now meet 3 of them. 3 inspiring speakers are already waiting for the performances, all of them representing top enterprises in Sweden. And as you have already heard, this is not a coincidence, as Sweden is our partner country for today and tomorrow, definitely a leading country when it comes to innovation, as you know, and therefore a true asset to this 6th B2B Software Days. So let us now, as promised, meet three very innovative Swedish companies, Saab, Ericsson, and IKEA. Four top representatives are ready to share their insights with us, each of them having, let's say, 15 minutes for their presentation and another 5 minutes to chat with us. Well, talking about chatting with us, so do not hesitate to send in your questions. To make things easier for us, we have integrated this Slido panel directly into the browser window, so you can post your questions there. And you are not only allowed to post questions there, you can also upvote them. So if there is a question from another participant that you feel that this is particularly interesting for you as well, then give it a like, then it is going to be ranked in a higher position. Well, yes, and don't forget to use our hashtag SWDays21. As you know, we highly appreciate your posts on social media. Well, but then let's start. The first 15 minutes belong to Daniel Feld. He is the Chief Digital Officer at Saab, a company serving the global market with solutions that increase security, ranging from civil security services up to military defense solutions as well. Daniel has been involved in many different areas, such as change management and line project management, many of those projects, of course, driven by himself. And this, of course, means dealing with software every day. So he is going to share his special software insights out of a company that has its original focus or its strong focus on hardware business. Or should I say, had its focus on hardware business? Well, that's an interesting question. I hand over to Daniel Feld. Welcome at the 21 B2B Software Days. Daniel.
Thank you, and thank you for that warm introduction. And actually, welcome to Stockholm, and actually sunny and first really warm day of this year, I would say. You can't see it in this room though, but it's really good day in Stockholm. I'm going to talk about the digital transformation of the industry, and a lot about digitalizations is actually, we often talk about Industry 4.0, smart factory and stuff like that, but I'm actually going to talk about the transition of the industry from hardware to software focus. And I'm going to start with a slide which you're familiar with, but I take it anyway, because I think it's really important. If you start from the bottom here, you can see the digitization. Digitization is when you have a paper and make it digital in some anyhow in any way. This is what, if you're really old, you're talking about LP discs and creating CDs of it. That's actually that transition, doing it digitized. That's an important step of digitalizations, but it's rather just the beginning. You're making possibilities out of it. The next step here is when you do digitalization. If you have that CD thing, it's probably here you're buying songs for €1 at the iTunes store, or what it was called. That's digitalization. In the industrial world here, it's a lot about automation. This is when I think Industry 4.0 come in. It's talking a lot about connecting stuff, IoT, we're talking 5G and stuff like that. This thing is mainly about saving money, being more efficient, doing stuff cheaper, higher quality, and faster. That's a really important thing. It's really important, but it's not the end goal, I would say. The next step here is when you transform your business to be a digital business. That's when it's going to be interesting. And if this is where you have to go to be living in the future, so to say. And here is probably when you talk about YouTube Music or Spotify or any other company selling prescriptions of music. And I think this is a lot about software. if you see this as your company, at the bottom is probably a hardware-focusing company, being automated company with more software in the middle, and at the top, the software is what we actually are selling. We need new business models. We have new products. We're selling stuff in different ways when we have done this transformation, and this is where we're gonna earn new money. Not just saving money, doing things smarter and faster. We are doing new money. This is what I think is the important thing here when in the transition from hardware to software. So if we look at this stuff here, up to the right we have I think it's a Garmin watch, and down to the left it's an Apple watch, and in the middle is, of course, I'm working at Saab, so that's a Gripen fighter. This is actually products that is software based, and the software is in focus. If you look at the Garmin watch, it's probably not the watch you're buying. You're not just want to see what time it is. That's probably the wrong thing to buy if you just want to see the time. It probably have subscriptions as well, where you can buy, you can have training aids, you can upload stuff to the cloud, share it with the communities and stuff like that. So these are actually things that are transformed already. They have gone from being the hardware producing stuff to being a software producing stuff. They are not fully there, all of them, have a software-based model, I would say, and stuff like that. And the Gripen fighter as well. We have, it's not that easy in the defense industry, but we have separated hardware from software here. That's an important thing I'm gonna come back to. And if we look at that Gripen fighter then, we say that it's the Gripen aims to be the iPhone of fighter aircraft, and we're not meaning that it's going to be as small as an iPhone and stuff like that. With this we mean that we can have different update loops for hardware and software, and this is really, really important. If you build hardware, you're building phones or aircraft or whatever, cars, you have an upgrade loop of the car every second or third year when you hand it over for service. That's the loop of hardware. For software, it's totally different. And you know that, of course, but it's the industry out there haven't got into this already. Because when you deliver software, you have working, verified, probably even validated software every minute. Then you can't deliver that to the customers every year or every second year if you're a classic car manufacturing here. You have to do this. You can't put it on the shelf and say that I leave it here for a year and then I deliver it to the customer. That can't be the right way. So here you have to create a design of your thing you're creating that can make it possible for the hardware to have one upgrade loop and the software in different upgrade loop. You need to build, you need to decouple those. You need to have an architecture that makes the software not dependent on specific hardware, and the other way around, of course. This is design thinking, is system architecture. That's really important to make this happen. And if you look at the iPhone again, here are a bunch of iPhones. We shouldn't go into every detail in those phones, but you get a phone delivered every year, a physical phone. I don't think that, even though some think that you buy a phone because it's really pretty and nice to have in your hand. I don't think that's really the thing that Apple had did here. They didn't create a nice phone without buttons. That wasn't they did that, but that's not the main thing with this. They did something else that is really important for the iPhone. You get a new model every year, a physical new device. They have an event every year where they present the new iPhone. That's cool. And yeah, you're going to buy it probably. But the other thing is that they have separated the operating system here. They have different updates loops for the operating systems where you got the 1 or 2 years times a year. You get the new operating system where really new cool features, but you also get security patches and other patches every month or something like that. And you do this for new phones, but you also do this for old phones, quite old phones actually. That's separating, having a design separating hardware from software. You can deliver new features to old stuff over time. Probably this isn't either the reason you're buying an iPhone. It's probably the next layer here. You got new apps. You have an app store. The new business model for selling a phone is getting 30% from every app sold at the app store. That's the business model. It's not the phone. And you get updates for these apps all the time. So the apps have update loops of days, operating system month, hardware yearly. This is a really good model. And you have this, Tesla is sort of doing the same, haven't come that far yet, but they're doing sort of the same thing here. This might be hard to say that. A Tesla isn't a very nice car when you look at it. It's sort of a car, just a car. That's probably not why you're buying Tesla. You buy it because it's a huge screen in the middle with a lot of software features. And those features are updated all the time. Not every third year when you hand it over for a service. It's updated all the time. That's why you buy the Tesla. Not because it's the nicest car on earth. Or maybe it's because it's electric as well, of course. But it's sort of shifting from being the physical thing you're buying to buying software. So different upgrade and update loops. This is the main thing here. We need design in the products so we can separate hardware from software in the loops. And that's making software independent of the hardware and stuff like that. But it's a design thing, I would say. So if you go into this, some of you may think this is obvious, but it's not that obvious for the industry. Three things that's the difference between a hardware company and a software company. The first one there, reuse. Reusing hardware, reusing stuff in between products in hardware industry is quite hard. Maybe you can share a CAD thing or something like that, but it's really hard to share components between different products, even in between models, I would say. But with software, it's different, because here you can share not just the source code, you can share the installed code, or even up and running code. You can share a Docker container with fully running software in between different products. And that's something we're into at Saab, trying to actually use the same things in a submarine and in an aircraft and in whatever other product we have. And not just the code here, it's the fully component. And this is a technical stuff. A lot of you are probably technical, so you know it's technical stuff. But I would say it's a culture thing, not mainly. Because when you're building hardware, you didn't have to bother about this, so you don't have the sharing culture within your company. That's something that's really important. We need to have a culture where we can share stuff. We have places where we can share stuff. We have tools to communicate. We have a mindset of that what I produce is going to be shared with someone else. We have to use both inside and outside the company, of course. Open source community have been there forever, but if you look into industry, it's probably most downloading open source. It's not that haven't been that much of sharing, pushing back stuff to the communities. That's what sharing is about. Pulling and pushing. Co-collaboration. That's something that's gonna shift the industry. And it's already started, but we're not finished yet. But this is really important. I would say this is, beside the next point here, is the most important one. If you look at the business model, I talked about that earlier. We have the business model for selling physical products is totally different from software. It should be, because you have working software with new features or new security patches every minute. And it's verified that it's working. why wait delivering it? And why wait get paid for it? Why do car manufacturers get paid for every new sold car or every service interval thing when they can deliver software every minute? Isn't that the wrong model? It should be, we need to do something here. I don't have the answer. It's easy to say it should be service-based, license-based, or whatever, but I would say this is a quite hard thing. How do we do this transformation? Most important thing. The third one here is the agility. If you come to software versus hardware, it's, if you're building a physical thing, you can't do late requirement changes. That's quite bad. If you move the wheels 10 centimeters backwards on the car when it's already produced, that's going to be really expensive. So, but in software, that's the way you have to do it, because software is too complex to sit beforehand and set all the requirement and then build it. Of course, you need an overall design and architecture for the product, but you can't set all the requirements. And this is obvious for the software industry, but it's not obvious for the hardware, the classical hardware producing companies. And this is something that needs to be shifted in the industry. Really important. It's really good, change the requirement. When you realize that you have to change the requirement, do it. Because 1 minute later, you have a new release cycle. And 1 minute after that, you release the software again. This is important. To do this, we need one thing, I would say, because at least in Sweden, a lot of people working in the industry have been working there for 20 plus years. We can't say that you are waste, there's the door, we recruit new people here, because they are sitting with a lot of competence. We need that competence. So learning is really important to make this shift happen. We need those engineers in the future as well. So reskill, upskill is something that we are working at my company a lot with. We have it high up at the agenda to do this, and it's important for all the companies to make all this happen. Of course, we need to recruit as well, but we need to reskill and upskill people. Digitally, online, collaboration tools such as open source communities, inner source communities, not putting all of them in the bench doing stuff. We need to do it in the more modern ways, in the tailor work. And this one is the last one. In the future, all companies will be software companies, of course. I guess you would agree with me. You can look up that guy, George F. Colony. Quite interesting. Yeah, thank you.
That is it. Thank you so much, Daniel, for these precious insights. All companies are going to be software companies. This is a quote. Daniel, SAP stands for security mostly, and I have one question dealing with the cybersecurity in particular. So yeah. This is it. Hackers took a major US fuel pipeline offline over the weekend. So how important is cybersecurity for SAP? What are your challenges and your priorities here?
Yeah, this is a tough one, I would say. Cybersecurity is the top priority, I would say, always. But the weight of handling the cybersecurity might be different. It's still following standards and stuff like that, but it's also when you see an attacker, it's the time from the attack is happening till you have updated the system that's important. So it's still keeping high pace of deliveries, possibility to high pace deliveries. That's important, and and it's not just when we detect things happening, when we have a 0 day out there, and even before that, it's going to be that day that we have a 0 day, the attack, the most attacks will happen. That's why we need to be fast updating those things. That's really important. So besides the classic things, following regulatory requirements and stuff like that, and having a process how to handle software and hardware. We spend a lot of effort controlling how to get software into Saab, doing analysis of that software we are putting into the product. And we have the different thing here in the future, and actually right now, is that we do that at least semi-automatically. We do that analysis because we need to have high pace. When a cyber threat is there, you need to be fast. You can't take a year. You need minutes or hours at least to update it.
And being fast means learning, as you said, instantly and constantly, and it means collaboration as well. So one question regards this collaboration. What are Saab priorities for collaboration with startups? What are you definitely looking for, Daniel?
A good question. We are having quite a lot of collaboration with startups, at least as I know in Sweden, but in some other countries as well, such as the countries where we are selling our products, of course. And we have an organizational actually have that communication, the initial communication, to actually get into new areas. And I would say if I should say something that's important, is that since we're in making a turn of a company right now, we need disruptive technology, taking advantage of this, that we are building more and more software products. That's important, I would say.
And we are going to take a deeper glance on that topic, collaboration with startups, in the afternoon session when we have your colleague Karl Eldebo here from Saab. Yeah. For the moment, Daniel, thank you so much for your insights and best wishes to wherever you are.
Thanks a lot.
Goodbye, Daniel. Well, all these visions and all these plans and all these projects, of course, demand for a powerful technological infrastructure. And 5G is definitely one of the keywords when it comes to connect virtually everyone and everything, including machines, devices and objects and human individuals, of course. A completely new kind of network is coming up with 5G, and it is so new that hardly anyone can share experiences so far. But some can and do. And so it is a big honor that Ericsson is going to share some of its lessons learned and most promising use cases from their experience until now. Ericsson, as you might know, is a leading player in communication services. 40% of the world's mobile traffic is handled by Ericsson network technology, and it is definitely a pioneer when it comes to 5G technology. Alexander Sisoev is the managing director of Ericsson Austria, and therefore he is here with us in the studio here in Vienna. A warm welcome to Alexander, and thank you so much for joining the B2B Software Days.
Thank you for a warm welcome. It's my pleasure to join this fantastic event and also give a little bit of the insights about the 5G networks, what are the lessons learned, what we have learned from the first deployments, where the industry is moving with the 5G, what are the use cases, and what use cases we have seen already happening in the last years. So bear with me, it will be hopefully very interesting, and I hope to give some interesting insights for you. But the first thing and the bold message that I would like to convey here is that 5G is here. Despite all the challenges, despite all the pandemic situation, despite all the reassessment of certain investments, 5G is happening. 5G is happening every day as we speak. 5G is happening every moment as we speak. And here I'd like to give you some bold numbers when it comes to the 5G. Since the first network that has been deployed with 5G technology back in April 2019, there was quite a lot of changes and shifts happening in the industry. And these numbers that you can see on this slide, they give a good assessment of where the industry is moving for the last 24 months. Yes, there were challenges, and in those challenges we have seen that obviously COVID-19 has been impacting certain decisions in building up the networks, but at the same time it didn't stop the rollout completely. It's happening, and there are many operators in the world as well as consumers who are getting all the benefits of the 5G every moment as we speak now. We've been doing an interesting assessment report that we do twice per year that is called mobility report. And the numbers that you see on the slide, they say a lot about the 5G. Just to give you a perspective, so first thing is, as of today, we have 136 global 5G networks in 42 countries, with majority of them being live. That's a lot. That's really a lot. If you look into the GSMA report, we can conclude that as of today, we have more than 400 5G devices. They are commercially available, they are available on the market, and they are widely used in the use cases as we speak as well. What is also interesting, already by the end of the year, last year, we have seen that 15% of the worldwide population has been covered and getting the benefits of the 5G. We have had this prediction back in November, and actual numbers that we collected early this year made a good proof point of this number. 15% of the population worldwide is getting the benefits of 5G already now. Now, if you look into the specific examples coming from a couple of countries, our conclusion would be that, for example, in South Korea, the subscribers, they are getting 8 times more and consume 8 times more of the data traffic as it was before with LTE. And what is also interesting is that in the same South Korea, up to 50% of the whole traffic is going through the 5G. That's definitely an impressive set of the numbers. But here we are talking about the past. And now, I'd like also to give you a perspective of the future. In the same mobility report, we've been also assessing how the industry with 5G is going to change by 2026. And you also see a set of the impressive numbers here. If you look into the mobile broadband connections and the subscriptions, we expect that by 2026, there will be up to 3.5 billion of the connected 5G subscriptions with the mobile broadband use case. If we try to expand this number with also connected devices, we see that this can reach up to 26 billion. And this is 3 or 4 times even more than we have today. So 5G is also benefiting not only the consumers, but therefore also the industry through the sensors. What is also expected by 2026 is that up to 54% of the whole traffic worldwide, not in a specific country, but worldwide, expected to go through the 5G networks. If you talk about the population, I was given an example of the South Korea, but now worldwide by 2026, we expect up to 60% of the whole population joining the benefits of the 5G. Some more interesting numbers that I'd like to convey here is that in specific regions, in for instance North America, it is expected by the same time there will be 80% of the mobile subscriptions enabled with 5G. But one number I'd like to bold and highlight several times here is that 5G is expected to contribute with $2.2 trillion to the global economy over the next 5 years. And this is the best recipe that can be given to the question, how can we get out of the pandemic situation and recover the economy in a post-pandemic world? $2.2 trillion, that's a super impressive number. Now talking about the values of the 5G to the different segments, that's obviously a benefit for both consumers and the industry. And now if you look into the consumers, obviously we see in our researches together with some partners that consumers are ready to pay the price premium. Specifically, consumers that are using the smartphones, they are ready to pay price premium for certain benefits that 5G technology enables by default, such as, for example, guaranteed bandwidth or the higher throughput. But if you look at the different use cases that exist in the consumer market with the 5G, there is definitely one bold statement. 5G is about to benefit and improve the user experience. Good example here would be gaming. It doesn't matter is it cloud gaming or mobile gaming, but if your family members are playing, for example, different games online, you know from them how it is critical to have the committed connectivity, how it is critical to have the guaranteed throughput and bandwidth. And that's just one example of the industry which is going to get the benefits of the 5G. But obviously, talking not only about the consumers, talking about the industry, 5G is open for the business. 5G is a great tool to improve digitalization in the different industry segments. In our joint research together with Arthur de Little, we have assessed potential 5G benefits for all different industries. And our conclusion is that 5G can really act as a good tool in order to improve digitalization within different industry sectors. And the set of the use cases would benefit each and every industry. Some industries will get the benefits of the 5G a bit faster, like for instance manufacturing, or you see here healthcare as an example where 5G is also leveraging on the current pandemic situation. But the bold message here is that industry is definitely going to get the benefits of the 5G and a lot of the benefits of the 5G. Now, obviously, the next question would be, how can I ensure that in my industry I start to get the value of the 5G? And the interesting answer here is that the usage of the 5G, as well as the benefits and the value of 5G, increases with the complexity. And a lot here depends on where your industry, where your customer, where enterprise is sitting with the digitalization journey. You can start small. You can start using 5G as a digitalization tool in some routine processes. That's why on the bottom you see, for instance, simplified documentation. But then you climb up in this value chain and then you think, okay, can I connect to the sensors and collect the data in the real time while those sensors and certain production processes are currently used for something productive? And then you climb up again, and then you can present and process and then blend this information also at the same time. And you can also introduce some additional changes within the process of production while you collect the information. Then you can climb up again and up to automating certain processes that you can have in your manual operations nowadays. So from this perspective, the interesting aspect is that the more complexity you give to the 5G, then better benefits you can get out of the 5G too. But the bottom line question is, of course, what can I digitalize? You need to know the processes that you have. You need to know how these processes look manually, and then you start responding and digitalizing them. Another interesting aspect is about the connectivity. So what we see as of today, in whatever factory we, for instance, pick up, that connectivity is really crucial. And by traditional means, this connectivity can be provided either by Ethernet or by, for instance, Wi-Fi. But now we are stepping into a bit new direction. Our factories are becoming automated. We can have a lot of different devices connected in the factory. We can have full automation wings in the factory as well. What it means? It means that we start having more and more different type of the devices in my network, in the particular enterprise. What it means too, it means also that we start to have also different demands by these sensors, by these devices. Each of them would like to have separate bandwidth, separate quality of service, separate whatsoever. And therefore, the best recommendation that we can give here is that it is important to embrace wireless cellular connectivity. It is important to start thinking about why cannot use, for instance, cellular connectivity in my factory already now. But that's one side of the story. Another side of the story here is that we can compare also wireline connected factory with wireless connected factory. And it's a matter of money, because if you have it wireline, obviously you have a lot of cables, you have a lot of physical cables, and that's about cost. So, and that's about also having this cost plugged into the early phases of the design of the factory and the design of the digital processes. So from this perspective, that's another reason why it is important to improve the cellular connectivity from day one. And that's one of the another recipes for the 5G. Now I'd like to give you a couple of interesting examples, just real use cases of the 5G. One example is coming from the manufacturing production in the automation segment. We have a joint collaboration with Ego, Vodafone Germany, and us. And one of the factories, and as you know, Ego, they are trying to produce cars that are going for shorter distances, and the demand for those cars is increasing significantly, sometimes also with a need to produce and deliver these cars quite quickly, faster than it was before, and so on. So what Ego and Vodafone were going to do, they were saying that one of the challenges is that we'd like to ensure that whatever customized requirements for the delivery we have, we can do it right in parallel to the process of the production. So that was the reason to, for instance, deploy the network that can collect the information of the available assets and use it and leverage it in the same time of the production system. Another use case that is deploying as we speak is about the automated guided vehicles. So Ego would like to have the automated guided vehicles, driverless, commuting between the warehouse and also the production facilities. And this is possible to deploy with the usage of the 5G. This is a real case, and this is also benefiting the production as we speak. One interesting another case is about the so-called blisks manufacturing. That's a special bladed discs. They are quite important for the airline industries. And as we speak about the airline industries, that also means one more aspect. That's about the highest possible ever standards in the quality. That's why there was idea to check how 5G can benefit this specific industry. So if you look into the blisk production as such, there is quite a time-consuming process when you are milling these metal disc jets in the time. And it could happen that there would be something with the quality. What it means? It means that you need to start redoing the things. You need to produce the things again. You need to produce the same disk again in order to guarantee the quality. What has been done in that particular case, there was a combination of the real-time quality check procedures together with the milling process. This helps to avoid the need to do reproduction afterwards, and this helps also to ensure the highest possible quality standards just within the production process. And for this particular industry, the assessment was that it could benefit the whole disc production industry for the blisks up to $27 million. Quite a significant number, I would say. And at a conclusion, I would like to state boldly that there is much more value in 5G than just speed and latency. Yes, superior speed and low latency, this is something that goes just by DNA and the nature of the 5G. But there are three more aspects that need to be considered. You need to know what you are going to digitalize and how to unlock extra efficiency with 5G as a tool for digitalization, because industries and consumers, all of us and all of them, really demanding the guaranteed processes and reliable processes. Another thing is that the value of 5G increases as more complexity you give to the 5G. So the more you expect from 5G, more you can literally get. And one more important aspect here is that 5G is possible to unlock the full benefit if you have the so-called ecosystem approach. When I talk about the ecosystem, I refer to service providers who own the frequencies, for instance. I refer also to startups and incubators who get the possibility to play with the system and also develop the particular use cases or applications. I talk about sensors vendors, I talk about the chipset vendors, and of course vendors who own the technology. So only when combining all the things together, you can get all the benefits of the 5G. Please remember one last thing here. 5G is much more than just speed and latency, and it is happening right now as we speak, and many operators, industries, and consumers are getting all the benefits of the 5G right now.
Well, obviously we cannot talk about digitalization without speaking about 5G. So, Alexander, thank you for your insights. One participant is asking, may I ask your opinion about 5G's influence on Wi-Fi offloading? Will it reduce or enhance it?
That's a very good question. So on one hand, we can see that 5G will work with the legacy technologies together, and that's why, for instance, in the standards of the 5G as per 3GPP, there are also possibilities to consider offload mechanisms and interworking between the legacy Wi-Fi networks and the 5G. At the same time, 5G, just by definition, has a much higher capacity, much higher bandwidth, guaranteed KPIs that the network can provide. So from this perspective, I would say that likely they will coexist, but the addressable use cases might differ.
Well, I have a second very interesting question, but I think it's not to be answered very easily. One asks, if you would bet on only one industry that will have the largest monetary impact for the next years, which one would you bet?
I would probably pick up all of them, because as I was saying that 5G is benefiting all the industries, but the interesting aspect is that some of the benefits are coming faster in particular industries. Example could be smart manufacturing, as well as, for example, energy, utilities, and the healthcare. This is where the 5G is happening already now and might be a bit faster, but I would not say that it is not applicable to other industries. It's applicable everywhere.
So thank you. I have expected that answer. Thank you, Alexander, for your experiences and your visions, on the other hand, that will definitely change our society and the way we live, I guess. Thank you so much, Alexander, and see you later in the afternoon session.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen out there, when we talk about changing the way of life, don't we have to speak about sustainability as well? Yes, I think we have to, and we do, because the impact of digitalization on a new way of sustainable living is huge. But it is not always and easily recognizable at first sight. Don't you think so? So one Swedish enterprise, spread all over to the world in the meantime, of course, but still Swedish as Swedish can be, shows us how far we can think if we think smart. So IKEA is just realizing some trend-setting pilots, including smart logistics, smart production, and smart services. And two smart IKEA guys have come here to the studio to share their latest work with us. Both of them are members of the management team at IKEA Austria. Claudio Winkler is country digital manager, and Karl Abi is country commercial manager. And Karl is the one who starts the presentation and hands over then to Claudio, as I understood it. Welcome, we are so curious.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And hello to all of you out there. Very happy to join this event today and talk a bit about the future IKEA shopping experience, where we will, so to say, zoom in on Vienna and Greater Vienna. And we would like to talk about not only digitalization and how that is driving our business forward, which is one of the key cornerstones. IKEA is for many known as, of course, a quite traditional offline company, so to say, but we have started a transformation a number of years ago and are step by step becoming a digital company as well. But there's another cornerstone which we want to integrate in everything that we do, and that is sustainability. Without sustainability as a cornerstone, we don't believe that we can live up to the expectations of both consumer, society, and ourselves for the future. So why is that? Well, we have a vision in IKEA, which is to create a better everyday life for the many people. And again, both digitalization is actually a key to do this, to be able to reach more of the many people, but also to do it in a sustainable way. This is what we, so to say, build our plans on moving forward. So what does that mean for Greater Vienna? We will come to, but first I would like to just share some key facts. Because of course with the last years, and especially with COVID, things are speeding up more and more. And some key facts from IKEA Austria side, this is not global numbers, just here in Austria. We had last year about 11 million store visits. So for us, the offline experience is of course still very, very important. But we actually had almost 50 million, 48 million visits to our homepage, ikea.at, to find inspiration, to browse, to shop online. And we know that most of our customers are moving fluidly between the different online and offline channels. From a sustainability angle, we saved almost 700,000 products through our initiatives of rebuying. We call it the second chance. And we have now built circular hubs in all our stores in Austria. And we hope to double these numbers year by year moving forward. Yes. Moving ahead. So Greater Vienna is a key market for IKEA, not only in Austria, but also globally. It's one of the markets that has been identified a number of years ago, where we see a lot of potentials, and we want to, so to say, reach much, much more consumers and customers. So how are we doing this? First of all, we need to invest in an ecosystem. Both a digital ecosystem, which my colleague Claudio will talk more about, but we also need to invest in a physical ecosystem. We believe that an omni-channel experience is the way to go. It's the future of IKEA, to be both offline and online. So we decided a number of years ago to build a city store in the middle of Vienna called the IKEA Westbahnhof. It's really located in the city center, and it will be a completely different store than the traditional stores that we have in Vienna for more than 40 years. To be able to do this, since we will not in the city center be able to have all the goods stored for immediate takeaway, we also needed to invest in our distribution network and capabilities to deliver across Vienna with a much, much higher service sales. So we opened just before COVID started, just a few months before, our brand new distribution center in the city of Vienna in the 21st district. And this is very important for us to be close to the consumers, to lower the impact, but also to have very, very quick lead times. This distribution center is a big investment also from a sustainability point of view. But on top of that, we have invested in our digital landscape during the COVID pandemic. So actually today, depending on where the customer order, where they live and so on, we deliver actually goods from all our units across Vienna and across the country to actually lower the lead times, but also lower the impact on CO2 emissions. So talking a bit about our distribution center in Strebesdorf, it's a very high-tech building. It's an amazing experience to be on the inside with NFC technology and lots of other things. And of course, just like some of the previous speakers talked about, efficiency is and productivity is of course key to get scalability and be able to drive the business in a healthy way. But at the same time, we try and always invest highly in also the sustainability aspects. So the distribution center has actually a very good BREEAM certification. And one of the aspects of this is, one, we have the biggest ice storage in Northern Europe in this unit here in Vienna to take care of cooling and heating. And the most exciting thing from my side is that we have invested in this building to be able to deliver 100% with electric vehicles in the near future. So this is our ambition, that the last mile deliveries will not be done by diesel trucks anymore, but fully electrical. And we're getting very, very close to be able to achieve that now. So when we did this first investment in the distribution center, it's kind of a prerequisite to be able to open a city center store with a completely new experience. And Claudio will talk more about the digital experience inside the store. But we are also very proud actually about the sustainability aspects of this store. So it has a BREEAM excellent certification. And we have really from all angles tried to see how can you in the city center create a very, very sustainable building that is also nice for the environment and the community that lives around this store. So we will have 160 trees on the building. It doesn't only look nice, it also helps to lower the average temperature in the area with around 2 degrees. We will have beehives, bird nests, insects hotel across the building, but also from an energy point of view and solar panel point of view, we have, just like in all other units in Austria, invested also in this. To tell you a bit more about the experience and how we have set this ecosystem up, I would like to show you a short video before handing over to my colleague Claudio, who will talk more about the digital aspects of our business here in Vienna.
The fact that most educations in Sweden are for free makes you more able to take risks, and it's also good for your confidence to feel like someone believes in what you do and think it's important.
If you talk to any successful writer, it's not like the idea is going to pop up in your head. That's not how it works. The successful ones actually sit down and write between fixed times, 3 hours a day. You can be creative and very structured about it. And I think that's where Swedes come in.
I think the whole society is built up in Sweden to support entrepreneurs and free thinking, and we have a really good collaboration between institutions, companies and university. You can learn from your failure and still create that into a success, and I think that's very important.
At the heart of Europe lies Austria. Its capital, Vienna, with 1.9 million inhabitants, has been voted as the most livable city in the world for the last 10 years in a row. Right here, just 3 kilometers from the historical city centre, is the start of Marie-Hilfer-Straße, Austria's longest shopping street. And this is where we are building our most innovative IKEA store ever. Our new store will feature iconic and sustainable architecture, with excellent access to public transportation. We know that most people in the city do not have a car. So everyone in Vienna will be able to walk, cycle, scooter, or take the underground, train, tram or bus to IKEA Westbahnhof. And those arriving on public transport will need no longer than half an hour from almost anywhere in the city. Everything that can be easily carried out of the store can be taken home immediately. And we will deliver the rest within 24 hours to precisely where our customers want it. The building will host our IKEA store, an innovative hostel, as well as 4 retailers along Marie-Hilfer-Straße. And there'll be a rooftop garden too, publicly accessible with an inviting bar and a great view of Vienna's skyline. A central void will make it easy to move from one floor to the next. 3 entrances and multiple checkout possibilities will encourage shoppers to drop in spontaneously. Our new IKEA store will be home to 160 trees that will cool down the building by around 2 degrees and help us attain an Excellence BREEAM certification. It will be a landmark, clearly visible from afar.
Wow. I hope you will be as excited as we are when we open this new store directly in Vienna. Speaking about you as a customer, we know customers expect a seamless and effortless shopping experience nowadays. This we know quite a long time, far before the pandemic, but the pandemic amplified that quite a lot. We at IKEA, we have our goal here to allow you as a customer to meet us however you want and whenever you want. How do we achieve that? Basically, within IKEA, we are in the biggest transformation within our 78 years history. So we constantly listen to you as a customer and try to understand what are your needs and adapting to them every day a little bit more. We also open up new touch points like we just saw with IKEA Westbahnhof, directly in the city, not outside of the city, our usual blue box stores. And of course, we are within a digital transformation. So we develop a lot of new solutions, a lot of new services, and try to meet your needs as a customer. And why are we doing this? We want to become more accessible, more affordable, and of course, more sustainable. When doing this, we focus on one thing, the omnichannel experience. If you think about years ago, there was the journey, the customer journey, like you went to a store, had a look around, took some goods with you home, build it up. That was the only journey. Or you visited our website and did the same. But nowadays, customers act differently. Customers change in between all the channels, meaning the store, the website, our IKEA app. You call us, you email us, you chat us, you name it. So there's a mix of varieties of channels, and as a customer, you mix them up. Imagine on Sunday evening, you sit on the sofa and you say, I want to get a new sofa. And you take your IKEA app with you out and scroll through the sofas, put some of your wish list, share it maybe with your wife to discuss it the next day. And yeah, then you think about, maybe it would be wise also to test the sofa. So some days after, you go to the store, really test it and feel very confident you found the right sofa you want. But as it's such a big furniture, you think maybe it's better to sleep overnight and think if it's really the right one, and next day you're really sure. So you pick your laptop, open the browser, go to the website, log in at IKEA AT, purchase it, 2 days later you get it delivered. That's one example how customers approach us, and that's just only one example. Everybody's different here and everybody has a different customer journey. One perfect example we just recently launched for how we deliver software products in that sense of omnichannel is our new IKEA app. We recently launched it in February in Austria, and we call it, it's the smallest store in your pocket. Why is that? Because it's the first app you can really use to shop online. The former apps we had were only focusing on your in-store experience. And why is it a perfect example for omnichannel? Because it's not only shopping online, but also using it, preparing for the store. So using it to scroll through sofas, for example, and put it on your wish list. Or after your purchase, you have the order history and find all the products you purchased online or purchased in the store using your IKEA family card. Speaking about IKEA family card, that's very important always to have with you. And the IKEA app offers that. You have directly in the app the IKEA family card with you. Of course, the IKEA app also offers you tons of inspirations. And if you like, this is also tailor-made, meaning if you provide us more information about yourself, we can offer you more individual inspiration. But that's up to you, and that's very important within IKEA, speaking about data ethics. That it's your choice. You're in control of your data and you only provide us as much as you would like. The app is a minimal viable product approach, meaning we were very agile in development, meaning every second week we put up another version, a better version, listening very closely to you as a customer, and that enables us to move every second week quite further ahead. And yeah, we are very happy about all your feedback you provide us. If we look at the Austrian Apple Store, for example, Apple App Store, for example, we have a 4.7 star rating. Feels amazing. Now, thinking back, 78 years having our stores and being on the market, there's one thing we found out, and that's nobody likes queuing at the cash line. And we think we found the answer, a solution to that problem. We even think that's kind of a game changer. So I'm really happy to announce today that within Austria, we will launch a new feature called Scan and Pay. Scan and Pay, you can see it on the picture. The woman uses her phone, has the IKEA app installed on it, and points it at the barcode of the product she would like to take with her in the store. After that, she can directly put it into the blue bag. After having all the products, she walks to a dedicated cash line area with few and probably no queuing time. And yeah, they are dedicated tills, self-service tills. You can take the phone, scan the QR code the app provides you, pay at the till, and walk out. And the best thing about it is you don't have to put all your items out of the bag and put it in the bag because you already scanned it yourself. As said, it's a new feature in the IKEA app. It's truly what we understand with omnichannel, connecting the online experience with the in-store experience. You as a customer are in control of your individual journey through the store. Major goal is fast and easy checkout. And the best thing is the pilot will start actually this month, end of this month, beginning of next month in both of our Viennese stores. So we are really looking forward to hear how you like it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Claudio and Carl, so much for this inspiring project. Well, let us talk about this project very shortly, because you asked for feedback, and there is one. Wow, very cool one says, when can we shop there, and what are the next countries coming up next?
If we talk about the IKEA Westbahnhof store, it will open late this summer, early autumn. So it's a few months left. The building is almost complete on the outside. It also has automated storage in the basement of this building, which is now being installed. So it's just a few months away before everyone can shop at IKEA Westbahnhof.
Other countries coming up?
For like IKEA Westbahnhof, yes, for sure. So there are other countries already being in the city. For example, in Paris, we have such a store launched last year. And this is, as said, a new way that we like to go, to come closer to the people, more in the city, more sustainable, also not with the car, but by public transportations and these kind of things. Also, you will see more and more in different cities.
Big cities, yeah, fine, great. We're looking forward to that. Those projects you have talked about, they come together with COVID-19, of course, now because they are launched now. But I guess the idea was born long before COVID-19. The question I have here is, how has the COVID-19 pandemic influenced the business model of IKEA? So, with the focus of COVID-19.
Yeah. You know, as Claudio said, our transformation started long earlier to become a more digital company and find new ways of reaching out customers. But with the pandemic, and if we take here in Austria, all these very long lockdowns when it wasn't possible to go shopping, we needed to speed up a lot of things. So we speeded up a lot of deployments from a digital perspective on our online store, but also capabilities like actually, we were not able in the beginning to deliver at the speed that customer wanted. Because, of course, a lot of people all of a sudden spent a lot more time at home, which also made them realize there was a lot of needs maybe for home office desks and so on. So we had very big demand. We were able to implement this capability of not only delivering from our distribution centers, but actually using every single unit we have across the country to do that. This is one example. Then we started to more actively partner up with external partners to like click and collect near you, which we do together with Billa and Mercur, to actually get even closer to consumers who don't want a delivery but want to pick up our goods close to where they live. So in so many aspects, we have come a lot further in this year of pandemic and needed to speed up things, which we of course also will benefit from, and the consumers and customers will benefit from also post-COVID, which I hope is not so far away in the future.
Definitely. Well, my final question is, how do you innovate on digital sector? I mean, you are very innovative. Are you open to collaboration with startups worldwide? And if yes, what do you expect from those startups?
Yes, basically, yeah, for sure. Also, we don't do all the developments our own. We, of course, ramped up heavily with the digital transformation, our own developers. But, of course, we partner up with other companies quite a lot and have also an area where we are looking for startups and see which startups to fit to our needs. And basically last year we took over one startup in Silicon Valley where we'll see most probably quite soon the first innovations we do together. That's in the sector of artificial reality.
Whom do they have to contact in case of that they are interested in cooperating with you?
Yeah, that's in the digital sector, mainly driven from our headquarters. And yeah.
It's not
please contact Claudio. He will show everyone.
We will show, definitely, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Once again, IKEA goes beyond all standard limits, obviously. Thank you so much, Claudio and Karl.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, and the community out there, how inspiring was that? I guess I didn't promise too much, did I? Well, and so we have got a feeling about how digital transformation can work in hardcore hardware business and how 5G will influence all these developments and how companies like IKEA put all these new findings into best practice pilot projects. So Saab and Ericsson are going to join us after lunch break when we take a deeper glance on the impact of software on the hardware industry. And lunch break starts immediately right now and lasts until 1:15 p.m. So it's exactly 1 hour. Let me shortly announce the agenda for the afternoon. There it is. 3 very good workshops are waiting for us. And well, I hope we will meet again in the afternoon. And let me close this session with a video revealing some secrets of a powerful and creative nation called Sweden. See you there.
The fact that most educations in Sweden are for free makes you more able to take risks. It's also good for your confidence to feel like someone believes in what you do and think it's important.
If you talk to any successful writer, it's not like the idea is going to pop up in your head. That's not how it works. The successful ones actually sit down and write between fixed times, 3 hours a day. You can be creative and very structured about it. And I think that's where Swedes come in.
I think the whole society is built up in Sweden to support entrepreneurs and free thinking, and we have a really good collaboration between institutions, companies and university. You can learn from your failure and still create that into a success, and I think that's very important.